a couple of really cool folks here in just a minute. The two of us are going to sit back and learn a little bit. Because what I like to do is just a general philosophy is I like to identify those students who latch on to the stuff that I'm teaching, and every time, inevitably, there'll be a handful of students that just rock it out ahead of everyone else and just do amazing things, and then I start learning. I become the student, and I promote them to positions of leadership. If the stuff you're teaching works, that should be happening, right? And it does. And with this FBA, and I know that's an acronym, some of you may not even know what FBA is. We'll get to that. It's been the most popular, most successful course of the last year or so of my business as far as the number of people that jump in, buy the simple course, do what we teach them to do, and then they come back and say, hey, this is working. This is awesome. I'm loving this. This is creating financial independence for my family. Thank you. A ton of success stories. So that's why I'm excited to bring it. And we've never done webinars. This is our first ever webinar presentation. So if we seem a little, rough around the edges, well, I've never gotten these two folks in front of a big audience before and said, hey, teach them FBA. But I want to thank you, James, for giving us some time with your audience. We're going to get to the content very soon, but let me introduce you to Denny and Kat, and they'll tell you a bit more about themselves in just a moment. But they're two of my top students that understand selling on Amazon inside and out. And I recruited them in to partner with me for this project to help teach a bunch of other people how to do Amazon FBA. And then we've also got some of my other staff, including my coaching director, who's been with me for several years. He's going to be monitoring the questions. As you have questions throughout the webinar, he's going to be answering some of them. So if you see Nathan answering questions, he's behind the scenes doing a great job, and he'll also be available if you want to call and talk to someone when we're done. We've got a handful of people that be answering phones. You can talk to us. So at this point, though, I'm going to drop out, sit back, and learn, because these guys have put together the webinar. I've seen the slides but haven't heard them do it live yet. So it's their show. Denny and Kat, take over. I love you guys. You're doing awesome work. It's your show.
Thanks so much, Jim. Hey, James, we appreciate you bringing your audience here. We promise to give them some great content, get them started on possibly another income stream, one that has been very, very successful for myself and Denny. I'm Kat Simpson, and we'll get moving, and I'll tell you more about myself and Denny later.
There you go. This is Denny Basham. Thanks once again for having us out here, everyone. Certainly looking forward to giving you lots of information today and telling you what we've learned throughout this process of running an Amazon FBA business. You've already heard a little bit about Jim. One of the things that hasn't been mentioned yet is that he is one of the most trusted marketers out there on the Internet. There's a watchdog group that takes polls and judges these things, and he's the most trusted guy out there. And he already mentioned that he's been doing this for over a decade, works from home, and he does have 5 kids, by the way. So if you ever hear something in the background, it's likely going to be him, someone coming into the room there. And I'll turn it over to Kat for the next part here.
Well, Jim, as you guys heard earlier discussing with James his Silent Sales Machine book, Jim's also written another book called Free Marketing, 101 Low and No-Cost Ways to Grow Your Business Online and Offline. It's very, very popular. This course that we're going to tell you about later, about Amazon, Jim recently designed this, and as he said, it's been the most popular course yet because he wanted to teach folks a way to tap into the tens of millions of shoppers that are going to Amazon.com every day. He wanted to teach you how to get a piece of that pie.
All right, and this is Denny again. This is my smiling picture out in my backyard. I do work from home, and I'm 100% online now, and just like everyone else, I've quit the corporate background. I still went live on FBA, which stands for, by the way, stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. You'll hear that phrase a lot, but just remember that's what it is. Back in September last year, and I've done a little bit of selling on eBay, but nothing really on Amazon, actually zero on Amazon. And our first payment was a big negative $52. I actually had to pay for my first 2-week settlement. And then Christmas, things were really jamming last year. So our best payment so far from Amazon was close to $14,000 over a 2-week period. As of about a week or so ago, we've shipped actually 5,645 units from Amazon so far. That's as of last September. So we're heading toward around 9 months or so doing this. And the total product sales have been just a little north of $140,000. So definitely supporting my family with this. Our average sales order, which we'll talk about why this is important, is about $27. So that's important because if your average sales order is higher, you're going to end up with bigger numbers like you've seen here.
And I'm Kat. Hi, everybody. I've been selling online since 1997, so yeah, I've been around for a while. I've been on eBay mostly, and I came over to Amazon in 2004. I saw the light and began working with Amazon FBA earlier in 2011. So doing real well on Amazon, and I want to help you do well there, too.
Outstanding. So just a couple things to remember. We've done this. We've turned off our phones and silenced everything. We're in a quiet place. It's free of distractions. I put the dog in the other room, and so hopefully I won't hear any barking here, but if it happens, it's my dog. I do work from home. But it's really important to think about how you can use this information and also write your questions down and save them till the end if you can. That'll just kind of help make sure it's relevant to you. Yes, by the way, this is being recorded. It's a really common question. So you will get a replay link. We're shooting for about 45 minutes. Depending on how many stories I tell, it may go a little bit over. I tend to tell stories, a lot of interesting things that have happened. But we'll try to keep it to around 45 minutes or so. And I just want to mention, Kat, on the next one, why don't we talk about the overseas affiliates and kind of how that works? I know we don't have a slide for it.
And also let you guys know we're only going to be on the call for about 45 minutes. We know how busy you are. We know how valuable your time is. We don't believe in wasting your time. We want to give you good, useful information. So if you can give us 45 minutes, I promise it's worth it. Also, please hang around to the end because some of the courses we're going to be talking about, there are special links that will save you money at the end. And what Denny was mentioning was we had some questions earlier about whether or not you can sell on Amazon in certain states in the United States. And I want to make sure people understand that there are two different programs that work here. There's the Amazon affiliate program where I recommend products for you to buy on Amazon and I get an affiliate commission. Those programs have been discontinued in certain states. I believe it was 5 states so far, Colorado, North Carolina, a few others. That problem has absolutely nothing to do with selling physical products on Amazon. So if you live in the United States of North Carolina or you live in Colorado, you can still sell physical products on Amazon through FBA. There's nothing to worry about. I just want to get that out there because we already had some questions about it. We're going to talk in the webinar tonight. We're going to teach you what is driving Amazon's success. We all agree they're successful. Why? We're going to teach you how to understand FBA. Again, like Denny said, that FBA acronym stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. We're going to teach you how to find and source products for your FBA business. We're going to teach you how to send your products in to FBA. Then we're going to talk a little bit about next steps and give you a summary and some success stories of people who are doing FBA full-time and being very successful at it. So hang in there. It's only 45 minutes. Promise it's worth your time.
Also want to mention that we are going to be showing you a course at the end of the presentation. We've got a lot of great information that is part of this webinar, but we've also got a very inexpensive course at the end that really goes step by step in great detail on how to do Amazon FBA. It's several hours of fantastic content that steps you right through it. Just want you to know that that is at the end as well in case you're curious. Just want to go through next, what is really driving Amazon's success. Go in some detail of why it matters that Amazon's customers care and what Amazon is doing to make sure that customers are protected as well.
So let's talk about Amazon's success. Let me give you a few numbers just to show you what a huge success Amazon has become. Number one, we all know the economy we're in, especially in the United States right now. It's not a great economy. Almost everyone is reporting slower sales. Not Amazon. Amazon sales are at an all-time high. Not doing okay. They're doing fantastic. Amazon has over 121 million customers. That's a lot of people. Their Q4 sales, now Q4 is the fourth quarter. That's the holidays, so that's a little bit unusual, but that's a quarter of a year. That's only 3 months. 17.43 billion, that's billion, not million, billion with a B, $17.43 billion in Q4 alone for Amazon. Out of that 17.43 billion, 38% of those sales were generated by Amazon's third-party sellers. That's me. That's Denny. That's you. 38% of 17.43 million in 3 months? Yes, I want my share of that. Thank you.
Seriously. And by the way, someone was curious about the $142,000 that I've netted so far, what the net profit was. So just to give you an idea, in general, when we purchase things for Amazon, we go ahead and we want a 3-to-1 ratio. So we figure $1 for Amazon, $1 for us, and $1 for the original inventory. So if you purchase like that, you can take 142, happen to have a calculator right here, and you're going to end up with close to about $50,000 in profit. Minus a few startup costs and a couple other things, but somewhere around that range. so far for us. So just to give you that general number, and so that should give you an idea of what it takes to recapture investment. Some of the products we purchase are better than 3 to 1. We've had 5 to 1 or make money when you buy, not so much when you sell. So if you purchase correctly, you're going to make money on the back end, and especially if you're patient. You know, sometimes things will sell quickly, sometimes things take a little bit longer, but that patience is key, and then maintaining those ratios to having a good, profitable business on Amazon FBA. This is our Dilbert cartoon. I think I'd like to have every webinar have one of these. It really is speaking to the fact that Amazon cares about their customers, and because of that, they have rules and policies that prevent the Dilbert effect from happening. So they're going to watch out for customer service. I've also said this before, that they kind of see this customer avatar as someone like a grandmother. They want to protect that grandma. It's the same thing Google does. They see your grandma on the internet. No offense to any grandmothers out there, Kat. And
I said, I speak for the grandmas. We like it, yes.
So they want to make sure they're protected, and that's the default behavior for Amazon, is making sure that customers are protected. And I think that's a great thing. That's why you can get higher prices and lower refunds. That's the reason that it works so well for sellers as well. Hey, there's a key.
No, there's a key. All right, as we go through, you'll see these cute little keys up on the right-hand side of the slides, and that means pay attention, wake up. We want to talk to you a little bit right now about the Amazon customer. We told you what a great success Amazon is, but the really cool thing about Amazon is the Amazon customers are very, very loyal. They don't go to Google to look for what they want to buy. They go to Amazon. They go to Amazon first above any other marketplace. They would rather pay Amazon more money to buy their product than buy it cheaper on a competing website. Why? Because of what Denny was just talking about. The customer experience is #1 at Amazon, and these customers know that. They have become convinced of that, and they trust Amazon. These are wonderful customers to sell to. They do not need hand-holding. They do not want to be your best friend. They want to go to your store, buy their product, have you send it to them, and get back to their lives. They just want to buy it, pay it, and get done. Great customers.
And that's me, too. That's one of the reasons I'm on Amazon, is because I buy everything from Amazon, including electronics now. So it's not just books, so keep that in mind, too, which kind of leads us to the pink elephant here. So within reason, just about anything can be sent into Amazon. You know, if you can make money doing it, if you can keep that 3 to 1 ratio and it's not going to stay in inventory for 5 years, you can do just about anything on Amazon. So, you know, within reason, you can send in a tank that's made of balloons or a pink elephant. So it's really about choosing wisely, making sure it's merchandise that you know is going to move. And we'll talk about how to select merchandise here in a few minutes in the presentation, but it's not just stuff that's easy to ship. Another thing to know, too, is when you ship things inbound to Amazon, so typically you gather things up and send them in to Amazon. They take care of everything else. But when you do that, you get the UPS inbound ship rates that Amazon gets, and you can't really get that anywhere else. Their rates are super low, which means it can be economical to send in a pool table if you want to.
And let's talk about understanding FBA. We talked about why Amazon is such a huge opportunity, a little bit about the Amazon customer. Now let's help you understand the power of FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon.
All right, so Fulfillment by Amazon really works. You can see there's 5 main steps here. As I already mentioned, you're going to go ahead and source product, find things that you can send into Amazon that you know you can sell for a profit, remembering that 3 to 1 ratio, $1 for Amazon, $1 for you, and $1 for the inventory. If you do that, you will make money on Amazon. So you send those products in. Typically, we ship in, you know, multiple boxes every day. We do this full time, so we're sending in anywhere from, you know, a couple boxes to 10 boxes to a mountain of boxes back last November. I have a picture of me standing in front of the mountain that went out on one day last November, right after Black Friday. It was crazy. Then Amazon, you know, they tell you where to ship everything into, so they tell you which warehouses. By the way, there's over a dozen warehouses here in the U.S. They're planning to double that this year. So you can see Amazon's really serious about this. They store your product in the warehouse. It is your inventory. You still own it. And then when customers go to purchase, it looks like they're buying from Amazon. You're going to be at the top of the list for purchasing. And we've had friends that didn't even know they were buying from Fulfillment by Amazon. So it really does look, the customer really looks like, you know, they think they're buying from Amazon. And then once the customer purchases, the Amazon takes care of picking everything off the shelf. I picture a shelf. They have every warehouse has a Denny's shelf there. They're going to pick the products up. They're going to then ship them to the customers, and they're going to take care of that whole process and also take care of any returns. They really take care of everything with FBA, which is what makes it so fantastic.
Absolutely. What are the benefits to you of FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon? Number one, you're going to lower your costs. When you start shipping your products into Amazon, you will be able to use Amazon's agreed partner UPS rates. Let me tell you, you're in for a wake-up call. If you've ever used UPS shipping, even when you negotiate the lowest deal you can get, when you start shipping with Amazon, you are going to be shocked. Their rates are absolutely the lowest UPS rates I've seen because of their immense volume, of course, and you get to benefit from that. So in other words, you're reducing your shipping costs for shipping items in. Second thing is your premium seller positioning. Remember I told you earlier about those great Amazon customers that they would rather pay Amazon a higher price? Well, that's you in their mind. The Amazon is you, the FBA seller. They would rather pay you a higher price because they know that product is coming straight from the Amazon warehouse. So typically you can sell your items for 5, 10, even 15% higher than a non-FBA Amazon seller. Number 3, I love this, work smarter, not harder. Amazon FBA is all about outsourcing the parts of your business that anybody can do. It's all about scalability. I know those are 2 words that you guys are really keyed into as you learn to make money and make more streams of income on the internet. Outsourcing and scalability, FBA is the answer to that for physical product businesses. Number 4, you're keeping your customers happy. Amazon, when they choose a location for their warehouse, I find this kind of amusing. They typically choose a place to build a warehouse that is within a mile, sometimes actually next door to the UPS warehouses. Now, I think that's a brilliant idea. So when Amazon ships those items out to your customer, 90% or so go by UPS, those things get there so fast. Amazon Prime customers get free 2-day shipping. Typically, in my case, when I order from them, 75% of the time I order that 2-day shipping, I get 1-day shipping because they're so fast. So the customers are really happy about that. And number 5, back to my word, scalability. If you are selling physical products and you are a one-person business, you're going to hit a limit at some point. The average house is 2,700 square foot. You can fill that up pretty quickly if you're selling physical product. And if you're packaging items to ship to your customers every day, once you reach 30 to 40 items a day, that's about your limit until you start bringing help on. Using Amazon FBA removes both of those limits and lets you grow your business as large as you want. It's a beautiful thing.
Which is outstanding. And Amazon Prime is huge. I mean, I've been Amazon Prime for probably 5 or 6 years now. And literally, I can order a lot of times, depending on the warehouse, up to 5 or 6 o'clock. If I want to overnight it, I can order 5 or 6 o'clock the same day and get it the next morning. So as Amazon expands their warehouses, you're going to see a large part of the country be able to do that. And I think that's their goal, is to get to that point. So a little bit more about some of the strengths for sellers. And this really does feed into some of the questions I'm seeing, too, is, can you private label a product? So typically, when we purchase things, at least, in my business, Denny and my girlfriend, when we purchase things, we usually want to see it in Amazon. I especially recommend that when you start this business, you go ahead and look for items that are already listed on Amazon so you can get a sense of how quickly they're going to sell and what the prices are going to be. So usually there's going to be a listing there. If there's no listing there, you can create a listing. We do that sometimes. And maybe 10% of the products we purchase are like that. And even there's some items that don't have UPCs. So someone was asking about white labeling a product. So if you have a product that you wanted to sell on Amazon FBA, assuming it's not in a gated category, and we'll talk about what that is in a couple slides here, you can actually purchase UPCs. We've done it all the time. We go that into a lot more detail of that in the actual course that we'll talk about at the end. But you can purchase UPCs, put them on a product, list that product, create the page, do everything you want. There are some limitations on what you can put on a page when you list a product. Someone was asking about video. I haven't seen people putting videos up. I do put images up all the time. I don't believe that you can post a video, but that's a great question for later.
Actually, Denny, you can actually put a video up, but you can only do it if you are a customer. So what you do is you go in and do a product review video.
There you go. Cool. So you can do it, but you have to do it as a customer. And then, so another great thing about Amazon is it's a flat commission. There's no listing fees. There's no insertion fees. And typically you're going to get much better prices as well because you're an FBA seller. You're going to look a lot like Amazon. Remember, Fulfillment by Amazon, it makes you look like Amazon when customers purchase from you. That also creates better customers because people purchasing from Amazon, people that are concerned about Amazon Prime, which is one of the keys. So if you don't know about Amazon Prime, we talk about that in the course as well. But Amazon Prime is free 2-day air shipping if you're a Prime customer. And then overnight is $3.95 per item. All the people that bought Kindle Fires, by the way, get that for free. So Amazon is really expanding their Prime membership. So it's huge. There's several million customers. I believe it's about 2.5 million customers that are Amazon Prime. It's a huge number. And those Prime customers spend more money on Amazon than the average customer, too. So those are your target customers. It gives you better prices, and it gives you, it just is a great way to be a seller.
Absolutely. And Denny and I were trying to come up with some weaknesses to back off the pluses, but actually the weaknesses we came up with can actually be strengths also at the same time. When you're selling with FBA, you have limited customer interaction. Amazon FBA is not a customer acquisition channel. Be sure you hear that, because Amazon wants to make sure you understand those are Amazon customers, not yours. You won't be marketing to them. You'll simply be selling to them. Amazon does not have auction listings, so if the product you're selling works better at auction, Amazon FBA may not be the place for it. In general, the weaknesses are very, very minor.
Outstanding. So the weaknesses are almost strengths. It's like a job interview. What are your 3 greatest weaknesses? And it was hard for us to come up with any, right? So,
right.
By the way, someone was asking about scanners. We will be talking about how to scan products and books and kind of whatever you want toward the end of the webinar, just so you know. So we're getting there. I love the questions. They're just feeding in to stuff that's already there. So there's a bunch of stuff. We'll cover sourcing. Don't worry. There's another key, so watch out for these. So the biggest thing is Amazon's really a triple win. This is summarizing what we've talked about as far as Amazon goes for sellers. It's going to give you higher payouts because it looks like you're Amazon. And you can charge more per sale. You can also, if it's a non-FBA seller, they have to charge shipping. We always add that to our price that we actually charge, and we can get that full price because most customers are going to get free shipping. Even if they're not Prime, they get free $25 Super Saver shipping as well, which is hard to say fast 5 times. So also, don't say Super Saver shipping. It's hard to say. Also, it's a lot less work. We mentioned scalability, so you don't have to try to pack 100 orders in a day, which is impossible at Christmas time, and it could happen. We definitely had days where we were up in the 40, 50, 60 range with the number of items that were going out per day. There's no way we could have done that unless we hired a couple people. So we can send out 100 products in 10 or 15 boxes if we need to in a day, but it's impossible to send them out to individual addresses. And ultimately, for me, the reason I'm with Amazon, and most people are with Amazon, is they get items faster. I know that I can go look at something in a store. If I want it, I can pay half the price of for a book, for example, and then I can get it within a couple of days or the next day if I really want it. So that's the biggest reason that Amazon is winning. That's a huge thing about this. So that's the triple win for Amazon.
Okay, Denny, let's get into some details here. We talked to them about what the great Amazon opportunity was. We talked to you about why FBA is the best opportunity in Amazon. Now let's teach them some basic stuff. How do you source products for your Amazon FBA business, Denny?
There you go. That feeds right into the whole scanner thing, right? So we'll talk about that here. All right. So the first thing to know is there are open categories. These are non-gated categories, which means that any seller can list in these categories. And it's a huge list. My specialty tends to be toys. I'm just a kid that I never grew up. The toys get bigger, and video games and things like that. My girlfriend does the home goods and also, kind of consumer, some of the, things that I just don't know about. I also tend to do the DVDs and videos and I don't do the beauty stuff, but I do the books. I'm the king of books, which, by the way, is a great place to start because, and we'll talk about where to find this stuff too, by the way, but you can get them everywhere, and it's amazing some of the things you can find out there. So I'll give you a quick story. Remember, I promised some stories here. So I remember back when we were getting started, we went out everywhere. We looked in thrift stores and yard sales and estate sales and regular stores and just about everywhere. And I was at a thrift store and picked up a book and just had a spidey sense, I call it, when I kind of had a feeling about a book. I couldn't find it just there was no ISBN number. That's how you identify a book. But I just had a feeling about this book. It was a Spanish cookbook with color pictures. And I actually went out on my smartphone, which, by the way, is important to have to be able to find stuff, and found the item out there. And it turns out that, first of all, I bought it. It was either $1 or $2. I'm not sure, but it was $1 or $2. And I actually saw that I was able to sell it for $130. And I wasn't sure if it would sell, so we just sent it off, and I kind of forgot about it. And about 3 months ago, the book sold for $135. It was in our inventory for a little while, but, that's an example of, almost 100x, right, depending on whether it was $1 or $2. So there's a wide range of things you can do, and you can find them really anywhere. So pretty amazing as far as what you can do and the things you can find. There's a whole bunch of other stories we have of things we found, but anything in these categories you can sell.
And, of course, there are some categories at Amazon that they place limits on. Some categories are actually closed. We had a question about the camera category. That is not a closed category. That is an open category. But there are limits on some categories. So the camera category is open, but it's restricted, which means certain UPCs or certain products require approval to sell. So the entire category is open. Certain products require approval. Let's talk about why. Some of these products in here, you saw clothing, luggage. Amazon, again, go back to the first thing we talked about. What is driving Amazon's success? Excuse me, I had a bug in my mouth. Amazon's success is driven because of their unbelievable devotion to customers. They want the customer experience to be absolutely number one. And therefore, if they think there's a problem with too much selection or too many possibly fake items or sellers that aren't holding up to their standards, they will shut that category down and be very careful about who they allow in. So the limits aren't that many, and most of the categories you can eventually get into. There's an application process we can help you with in future webinars and things, but they do limit categories, and the reason is the same as always, customer protection.
For sure, for sure. So a couple of questions I want to address from the people out there. I mean, first of all, we always scan things before we buy them, so we generally know where we're going to be able to sell them for on Amazon. So sometimes Amazon steps on you occasionally. It does happen where we send some stuff in and Amazon comes in, we didn't expect it. That will happen sometimes, just so you know. You don't need any special licensing to do this on Amazon. You just need to sell it, create an account out on Amazon. We'll actually give you the link for how to do that here toward the end of the webinar, and just start sending stuff in. So there aren't any restrictions as far as needing any kind of licensing or things like that. I still recommend setting up a real business. But, that's, you can choose to do that or choose not to do that. But just so you know, hopefully that answers some of the questions out there. But, Kat already mentioned why Amazon limits categories, so I'm not going to repeat this too much, but it's ultimately about maintaining a customer experience, protecting grandma, making sure that, she can't get hurt by a seller out there that does something wrong. So they're very protective of their customers because they are Amazon's customers, which means, and there's some questions too I saw, you cannot market to them. So that's a downside and an upside. Amazon is going to come in an Amazon box. It's going to have an Amazon shipping label. Amazon's going to handle returns. They're going to take care of everything for you. Your return rates are going to be low. Ours are around 2.5% to 3%, so pretty low as far as refunds go. But they're going to handle everything, but that means those are Amazon's customers. So you cannot market to those customers. You have to be you can't put a little slip in that says, hey, welcome to Denny's, Denny's World here, go to my website. You can't do that. So just know that and be aware of that, but it gives you such a huge market that it doesn't matter. I don't want to have to try to drive traffic to my little website when Amazon's got 100,000 times as much traffic going there and 100,000 times as many people already looking for stuff out there. Why do I want to reinvent the wheel? So just something to think about as far as why Amazon FBA is growing and why it's so important to use Amazon and leverage it in that way.
Okay, are you awake? Wake up. There's another key. You got to be here with us. This is key number 2, finding inventory with a cell phone. Denny talked about using your smartphone. That is one of the things you really need to have to source correctly and easily with Amazon FBA. There are several apps you can use in the App Store. Please stay with us. I promise you can go find them after the webinar. The easiest one to start with is called Price Check by Amazon and the Amazon Flow apps. You can download these in the iOS in the iOS market on iTunes and in Google Play for the Android. These both utilize the camera function on your smartphone to take a picture of the barcode, go to Amazon and tell you what the price of that product is, how many people are trying to sell it, all of those details. There are lots of other apps you can use, and we also have several third-party apps we can teach you about and recommend that are not free, that give you a little bit more information, help you make better decisions. But if you want to get started right after the webinar, don't leave us now. You can get started real quickly tonight with Price Check by Amazon.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you can definitely use, the Android tablets or an iPad, an iPhone, Android phones. I use Android 4. My girlfriend uses an iPhone 4. Just use the little camera on the back to scan things, right? So very easy to do that. Someone was wondering why someone would purchase from me instead of another vendor. Sometimes it's based on price. Sometimes it's not. There's a whole bunch of factors that go into it, just so that you know. But typically, if we're purchasing correctly, we're going to be able to sell at a good enough price that people want to buy from us. So, we're going to look at other vendors that may be listing our product before we purchase it, so we know, hey, for example, if I can buy it for 10, I want to be able to sell it for 30 on Amazon. If there's 500 other sellers out there selling it at 25 bucks, there's no way I'm going to touch that product, just so that you know. We go into a lot more detail on that in the course, but that's just the general mentality. Short number of sellers. I love it most when there's no sellers out there and it's still got a good ranking. And there's a little Amazon ranking that tells you for that product, hey, for toys, this product is ranked X number. Here's the number. I know it's basically sold at this rate recently. That's how we pick which products to sell. All right. So here's another key, by the way, and we've said this before, but inventory really is everywhere. Our number one rule is just scan it. We've kind of co-opted the Nike just do it here. So,
yes.
It's all about checking everything. And I mentioned the Spidey sense. I think Kat probably has the Spidey sense as well, which is just go with your gut. I mean, give me a story, Kat. I need a story from you.
You need a story from me. Oh, I kind of
give me a story. Give me a product story.
I went to a yard sale, and they had this bag full of mechanical things. Okay, I'm such a girl. I don't know what they were. They were some kind of electronic. I don't know. But they were little tiny things, and they looked electric, and they were in a box, and they had a barcode. And I thought, okay, fine, I'll scan them. And so I pulled one up, and I pulled out my trusty scanner, and I scanned that barcode, and that baby came back at $50 on Amazon. I was like, oh, my. And it was a whole grocery bag full of them, Denny, one of those brown grocery bags. So I look over it. I don't look for the guy, okay? I look for the woman because they're guy things. They'll let the woman price them. I go find the woman, and I'm going, how much for these things in this bag? And she looks over and she goes, oh, those are left for our remodel. How about $5 for the bag? And I'm like, okay, sold. So I got a whole bag. Turns out they were circuit breakers and some other thing that goes in your electric panel. Don't ask me. I just sell the stuff, okay? So I brought that whole bag home for $5, and I sold them for between $30 and $60. I still have a few of them left, but the ones I've sold, I've made about $550 for. So, yeah, scan everything.
Wow. Yeah, it reminds me of, we were out last week going to estate sales. We do it like every Thursday. Hey, we work from home, so try to do it when other people are not out there. So we were just out at some estate sale, and then we just happened to be driving along, and we saw this big yard sale sign, and it was the Knights of Columbus or Kiwanis or something, and they had a bunch of stuff. And so we stopped by and kind of looked around for a bunch of stuff. We just scanned a bunch of items and found some stuff that we were interested in. And we bundled it, by the way. It's like American Pickers, by the way. So we tend to bundle everything. We don't go, how much is this, how much is this, how much is this. We tend to get 5 boxes all together. And they go, what's in there? I don't know. We got some stuff. How much, And so we already knew that there were these, they're just like security lights that we found, that just light bulbs, but they were really expensive light bulbs. So we ended up getting 5 or 6 boxes. Those things just went in, by the way, and they'll sell around $35, $40 a piece. And we said, how much for the bundle? And by the way, we had a bunch of other stuff that's going to sell too. And the guy said $25. So I said, how about 20? Because I just do that. I mean, I have to try. But he said, no, 25 forever. I'm like, okay, I'll take it, right? So we already know 35 times 5, you can do that math, right? So not just for a few items, there's other stuff too. So just scan it. By the way, some stuff doesn't have barcodes. Remember that book I mentioned earlier that was the Spanish cookbook with the picture? There was no barcode on that. There wasn't even an ISBN number, which is an identifier for books. So I actually had to go into Amazon and also Google and put in the title and the author for that book, and that's how I found it. The same thing applies to other books you might run across. Here's the thing. Most people are really lazy at estate sales, especially, and they don't, if it doesn't have a barcode, they won't scan it. So we've actually found, we used to only go to estate sales when I was working full-time. We'd go on Sundays. And everything would be picked over, and people wouldn't scan the stuff without barcodes, and we still would pick up a box of books, 40 or 50 books, that people didn't bother to scan. And by the way, those usually tend to be the best. You have to just put in the ISBN number from the book, or put in the name and look it up, and that's how you're going to find stuff. So it doesn't have to have a barcode. But ultimately, go with your gut. If the Spidey sense tingles, buy it. I'll give you one more story, and I'm going to ask Kat for another story too. But
no, later.
Oh, come on. Okay, we'll save it. But I'll give you this one too. So I don't know how many of you shop at Target, but last year, Missoni was this huge designer thing, which I don't really get. Whatever. It's some cool plates and whatever, but I didn't care. But we had friends like all over the country looking for stuff, and my girlfriend like arranged some posse to go out and find Missoni items, and we also would look every time we went, and it was strange. We would go down aisles and look for people that like just threw something in the wrong place, and we found a bunch of stuff that way. But anyway, in the clearance bin, there was a Missoni iPhone 4 case, which I would have never bought to put on my phone, and I just don't care. And my girlfriend said, I think this is going to be worth something. I'm like, no way. So it was like $7. So she scans it, and it turns out it was $95. It was what it would sell for. I'm like, there is no way anyone is going to pay $95 for this little iPhone 4 case. Go ahead and buy it at $7. We'll take a chance. So she sent it in, and it was gone in a week. As soon as it hit inventory, someone bought it, and they're happy with it, right? So just because you don't get why someone's going to buy it doesn't mean someone won't buy it. That's the first thing to remember.
Yes, definitely.
And it's crazy the things people will buy, the light bulbs and the circuit breakers and extension cords that we sold, candy bars. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm done with stories for now, but you'll get surprised.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
But I'm
no, you're not. Wait till the next slide is. Come on, let's go.
Okay, all right, cool.
All right, what we're trying to get across to you guys, and I hope it's coming through, we just really enjoy this business, and that's people say, oh, is this an easy business? Well, kinda. It's easy because I love it, and it's so much fun, but it's not easy as in get rich quick. It requires work, so know that I'm not telling you this is the get rich quick scheme, but yes, it's easy because I love it and it's fun. Where else can you go to a yard sale and buy some kind of gadget that goes on top of a door that makes it close for $1 and sell it for $79? Okay, I don't know, but that's fun for me, all right? That's fun. Online arbitrage. You can buy things online. You can buy something. Toys R Us has a sale, and you buy their Legos that went on clearance, buy one, get one free, and you turn around and sell those on Amazon and make 100% profit. Thrift stores are one of my favorite haunts. Great book pickings there. Estate and yard sales. I've already told you about the wonderful things I found at estate and yard sales. Retail arbitrage. There's a whole book by that name out there. You can go into Target and use your red card and get 5% discount and buy their clearance items. And today one of my best sales, Denny, I will tell you a story. I went into Target and they had these eye stubble things. Now, anything with an eye in it I think is cool because it's like an iPhone. So I bought these eye stubble things, some kind of razor, for like $16, and I sold my first one today for $50. So yay me.
Nice.
So retail arbitrage is lots and lots of fun. Denny, you had that cool story about the hungry hippos online.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you the hungry hippo story. But by the way, for people that want to know what the heck the word arbitrage means, it's just a fancy word for buy low, sell high. We got to always we have to make up good words so it sounds really important, right? But it's really about buying it for $10 and selling it for $30. So that's arbitrage. It's taking advantage of the market where, because I live here in Colorado, my Target store decides they want to put a clearance price on hungry hippos. I'll come back to hungry hippos, but that Missoni iPhone case was on clearance because no one wanted to buy it for some reason. But someone in upstate New York, which is where they bought it from, by the way, wanted it. So that's arbitrage, buy for $7, sell for $95, and you take advantage of it. It's inefficiencies in the market. I won't get into economics here, but by the way, retail arbitrage is something that is included, that book, by the way, is included in the course, and we'll get there here pretty soon. So Hungry Hippos, they asked me the Hungry Hippos story, I will tell you. So that was an online arbitrage, so you are able to buy stuff online, and I found this one myself. So there was a bundle, there was a Hungry Hippos and a memory game bundled together at Toys R Us online, and it was selling for less. First of all, the bundle was selling for less than the actual Hungry Hippos game individually, which was kind of weird. So that's a weird inefficiency there. And I was actually able to get, I bought as many as I could. We just kept buying them as we were shipping them out. We just kept buying more and more, especially as Christmas. We sold out of them, actually way before Christmas. But we got the bundle of Hungry Hippos and memory game for, I think it was like $10, and the Hungry Hippos game was selling for like $25, and the memory game was selling for like 10 or something like that. We split the bundle, and we actually then we listed the Hungry Hippos game as one item and the memory game as another item, and we sold them both individually. So we did the same thing with actually the Juju Pet walkables. Target was selling a bundle too of like a dog. Like they would have a more popular one like a dog and a less popular one like a snail together. But we were still able to make money with the bundle, and the bundle was actually cheaper than individual. Weird stuff happens out there, so that we were able to do that. So it was great. And by the way, just on a side note, we used to. Someone's asking about UPS pickup. we have UPS come pick up at our house. It's kind of a side note here, just so everyone knows. You can do it for $10 a week, and you can just schedule if you want them that day. You just tell them to come that day. It's on-demand pickup. We used to take stuff to the UPS store. Just get the on-demand if you're going to do this, by the way. If you're going to do this seriously, just sign up the account online on UPS. It's $10 for the week, just on a side note. So anyway, you want to talk about wholesale, Kat?
Yeah, wholesale is easy too. Some people have been asking questions about that, and we won't be able to get into all these. You can see we're running long already, and we're trying really hard to wrap this up for you, but we can't go into detail about all these different options on the webinar. I do wholesale. About 30% of my Amazon FBA is wholesale. Yes, you can do wholesale on FBA. That's all I'm going to talk about next.
Yeah. And the 100 hippos, we sold them as new because they were new. They were still in the box and sealed. So even though we split them up, there was just cellophane wrapper on the outside. They were new. I mean, we never opened them, and so we did list them as new, just for that person asking that question. All right.
Okay, so again, the whole point of this was that inventory is everywhere. Inventory, trust me, is the easy part. If you're going to start selling on Amazon, you're going to learn about a place called Amazon Seller Central. And this is like your eBay, my eBay page if you're an eBay seller. But basically, it's one place on Amazon where you can go and you can do all the things associated with your Amazon account. This is where you'll go to list your inventory, to ship your inventory into Amazon, to update your prices, and to track the orders. Now, how to use Seller Central is covered in detail on the next webinar in this series, as well as in Jim's Amazon training. But Amazon Seller Central will be the hub of your Amazon business.
And just so you know, if you have a bunch of questions, we do have an 800 number at the end if you have questions, and because we can't get every question answered here, obviously, right? So there will be an 800 number. I know that Nate's team is staying late tonight, and there's also an email that you can send the questions to as well, just for those of you that are curious about that. So we've come to next steps.
I think next steps are good. Okay, so we talked to you about the opportunity at Amazon, how the FBA opportunity dovetails right into the incredible benefits of selling on Amazon. We told you how easy it is to find your inventory. We told you what you do to ship it in. You go to Amazon Seller Central and ship it in. What's your next steps? Let's move.
Next steps. So the guys on the starting line getting ready to go. So this webinar is all about FBA. So for those of you that didn't know about Fulfillment by Amazon, we introduced you to that whole concept of what it is and how it works. Very tightly tied to Amazon Prime, by the way. Someone was asking about Prime. Amazon Prime is like $79, I believe, something like that a year. You get it free with your Kindle Fire. But if you buy a bunch of stuff from Amazon, it's a no-brainer because you get the free 2-day shipping. But anyway, as far as getting started too, we've given you enough information on this webinar. If you're a self-starter, you want to learn the ropes and go out there and do it yourself and learn it from here. Here's the address to go to. It's amazonservices.com/content/sell-on-amazon.htm. So that I think we're going to go ahead and put that link up in the box. So I'll leave that on here for a second. We'll get that in the chat box. That's where you go. You literally sign up for a seller account. We do recommend, by the way, that you at least get a box ready to ship in before you go out and set up an account. And also, just depending on how much you're going to ship in, there's a few options there. Whether you want to be a professional seller or a regular seller, but I would get a box ready to go before you go sign up. But here's the thing, that I've known, I use this course to get started, and so did Kat. So we have the Amazon FBA course. We used it to shortcut things and to make sure we didn't make mistakes. But the course wouldn't have done me any good if I didn't take action. It's about taking action if you want to do FBA. We're going to get that link up, by the way. So hopefully someone will get the link in the box. Anyway, I'll leave it up here for a second. But it's about taking action. And then also learning from the mistakes of others so that you don't have to make all those mistakes yourself. That I think is key. And but you have to take action. It's not about just listening to a course and feeling educated. It's definitely about, there we go. We actually have the box to purchase the course in the link, but that's fine too. Anyway, taking action is the important thing. So this is the name of the course. There you go.
Okay, the Proven Amazon course is what we're going to be talking to you about. This is a self-contained business-in-a-box program for people that want to build your Amazon FBA business at your own pace. As we said, we've given you the basic steps. You could go out tonight and start your Amazon FBA business right now. If you'd rather have some help along the way, we didn't get really into the Amazon rules, but Amazon is not the eBay marketplace. Just because you sell on eBay or another marketplace doesn't mean that you're automatically going to know know all the rules on Amazon. It's a completely different marketplace. And they are very, very serious about protecting their customers and protecting their marketplace. I don't know is not, or I didn't understand is not an excuse for breaking an Amazon rule. So not to scare you, but you need to know what you're doing. If you're going to go out there and start tonight, your first thing is to read the entire FBA manual at least twice. Otherwise, join the Proven Amazon course and learn the rules from the people that have been there. What I love about the PAC is, that's how we refer to it as the PAC. This system was not created by people who go out and do webinars, every week and teach you about different things. This system, the PAC, was actually created by Amazon power sellers like Denny and I that have been out there working on Amazon FBA. They know what they were talking about. Course is the community. And there's a lot of online community. That's a big buzzword now, is the community. The Amazon PAC community is a very special community. It's a collaborative community, not a competitive. You're going to be in a community with other people who have succeeded and who want you to succeed. They're not going to hold back their best advice because they don't want to give you a heads up. They're going to give you their best help because someone did the same for them.
Yeah, remember, it's the pack, not the herd. Yeah, anyway. It's the pack. There you go. That's the only time I'll say that. All right. So I know everyone Googled it. As soon as we put up Proven Amazon course, you probably found the current pack website out there. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's got a higher price than what you can get from the webinar links. So stay with us and definitely do the links here instead of going out there and doing it on the Proven Amazon course website. Also, we're calling it the Silver and Gold. It's the Pack Plus. Silver and Gold options are only available to you because you were participating in this webinar, and that link is where you go to if you're interested in this course. They might change this at some point in the future. Actually, Kat and I are getting ready to do a bunch of updates to enhance the course even more. So I don't know what the future holds as far as whether this is going to be the same in 6 months from now. But once you're in, you get free updates for life. So I think that's one of the keys as far as investing today in this webinar, and it's really a great way to get started. It's how I got started.
Absolutely. The PAC Plus Quick Start webinar. This webinar, we've gotten a lot of questions, and I've tried to keep up with them. I apologize for my mistypings. I'm typing so fast I'm spelling things wrong. But there's so many questions, and we really, in a 45-minute webinar, can only scratch the surface of some of your questions. So once you purchase the PAC course, you're going to spend over an hour with us, and we're going to take
at least an hour.
Oh, but depends how many stories Denny tells.
That's right.
It's going to take all of the things that we talked about during this webinar and expand them and answer more questions, and you'll get that when you purchase the PAC Plus.
Yeah, so we're going to be recording that live as well, and that's just, that's something that we're working on, and we'll have out there very soon as well. So, and there's a bunch of other stuff kind of even past this, just so that you know. And here's the big slide. So this is the package comparison. So remember, I said there's a silver and a gold. So in the silver version of this, first of all, it includes the Proven Amazon course. Already mentioned that retail arbitrage course, which is, that's from actually, it was a course that was designed, and people paid $1,400 for this course, and then, we recorded it, and it's available as part of the Proven Amazon course now. You also get the quick start. By the way, the link box should be up there, just for those of you that are curious, at the top and also in the chat. But you also get the 6 months of Jim's membership site, and that's pretty amazing because it's $60 just to start the My Silent Team, and then $20 per month thereafter if you're not part of the Proven Amazon course. Jim takes it very seriously about creating a community of people that are like-minded, that will help each other, and that will enhance it. So if that's where you need to start, as far as that's a great investment. I mean, it's almost $1,500, a little over $1,500 worth of things that are included with this, and it's only it's only $97 for the investment, right? Then the gold package, and I wish I had this when I started because it includes all the things we already talked about, the Proven Amazon course, plus the retail arbitrage course, which is amazing, by the way. That's really, it used to be called the Advanced Amazon courses. Now it's part of it. But Kat and I are working on what we call the Gold Training Seminar Series, and these are things that we learned from being sellers on Amazon, ways to increase your income, ways to decrease your return rates, how to deal with problem customers, just things that are cutting-edge things, that just aren't out there. We've never seen webinars on these things that we're putting together, and that's going to be included as part of the Gold Seminar package. And I don't know how to put a price tag on that, but if it's information that I've never seen shared anywhere else, I think that's priceless, as they say with the music commercial. The other thing that's amazing is it's a lifetime membership. So this is lifetime membership to my selling team. Jim does not do this, but because this is the launch of our webinar series, it's really something that he wanted to provide to people so that you're going to be there for life to actually participate. And Kat and I are in there in the forums as well, and you're going to actually be able to get answers from people that have been doing this a long time in there. The other thing, too, is you'll have direct email access to coaches, including Kat and I, if you have questions. That's one of those things, hey, it's the middle of the night, hopefully not quite the middle of the night. I'm not up till 3 in the morning every day, but, hey, it's one of those things, I'm trying to ship a box. I have a problem, what do I do? Or, I don't know quite what to do about this item. What do you guys think? So this email account will be manned by us and other people, too, to make sure your questions get answered very rapidly. It's like the hotline for the course. So that's what the gold packages, the total value for that is almost $2,800. The investment today is $347, which I think is amazing. If it was me starting over, this is what I would do. Also on these both, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, 100% satisfaction guarantee. It's one of those things that if you feel like this is for you, get the course and try it out. And if for some reason, you take action and it just doesn't work, which is impossible, by the way, you do have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I think that's important to know that, and just to kind of talk about that. So I'm done with that piece for now.
Okay, great. Coaches are there to help. As we said, you can start out tonight on your own, and you can make a profitable business that way. Or if you choose one of the PAC Plus packages, you will have a lot of people helping you. If you invest in the PAC Plus Gold course, you have direct access to Jim's coaches. That's Denny and I and others via email. And I know Denny said we don't answer email 24 hours a day. I definitely don't want to promise that, but if it's 1:30 in the morning Eastern time, I'm usually up. Okay, just saying. Anyway. So you get access via email to the coaches, and also if you purchase the Gold PAC Plus Gold course, you'll also have the opportunity to investigate the one-on-one coaching that Jim offers through his program.
Outstanding. All right. So summary, we had to come to the end at some point. So we're going to summarize kind of the things that we've learned. We'll get to some other questions at the end. There's kind of some that we've tagged here just so you know, and we'll take more also. And then just remember, there always is the 800 number. As well that will be stacked late tonight also.
Absolutely. Okay, we promised you 3 steps and 5 keys. The 3 steps to your explosive Amazon business are this: buy the stuff, ship the stuff to Amazon, collect your money. That's the 3. That's the 3 steps. It's really simple. The 5 keys are the 3 steps: sign up, buy, and ship. That's key number 1. Key number 2: understand that the Amazon customer is a deal changer. These are the exact kind of customers you want in your business. These are not the ones that are going to nickel and dime you and try to get you to lower your price. They're not the ones that need their hands held and need 15 emails from you. They want to buy your stuff, pay for it, and be done with it. They're excellent customers. Amazon is a triple win. Selling on FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, you get higher payouts, you do less work, and you have happier customers. How can you go wrong with that? Finding inventory with a cell phone. You really do need a smartphone. You can start this business without one. You're going to find very quickly that you need one. Fortunately, some of the low-cost cellular providers are now offering excellent deals on Android smartphones with pay-as-you-go monthly plans even for data. So it's not as expensive as you have to have a smartphone as it used to be. Sourcing Amazon inventory, as I said, that's the easy part. I always run out of sourcing money before I run out of stuff to buy. Inventory is everywhere and easy. Keep repeating that because it's the truth.
There you go. All right, so summary, I always like to put Benjamin Franklin in here, the founding father that wanted a turkey instead of the bald eagle for the national bird, but that's I love turkeys. I would never eat a bald eagle. That would be wrong. Anyway, well done is better than well said. We've said it before. Take action. No matter what you do, if you want to get started, just go out and do it. If you like our help as part of this, get the package. I mean, the thing is, as Kat said before, if you make mistakes with Amazon, I don't know is not really an excuse. So, you've got nothing to lose here and everything to gain. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So get it, study it, and, if you use it for 30 days and this is not for you, then you get your money back. So, but one thing I can tell you is if you won't get results from this, if we wouldn't even produce this course if we didn't know you'd get results, and we've used it so we know. So we want you to make your money back quickly on this course, and say this is the best thing since sliced bread. So, you do pay for knowledge and education. That's the number one thing that, leaders or readers, I've always heard that. And, getting education is the number one sign of someone that's going to be success, and continued education. It doesn't stop with high school or college, and it hasn't for me. And I pay for my own education all the time. So, the thing is, you pay for your knowledge and education and tools one time, but you pay with your life with your life without it. So, that's education is definitely critical. So that's kind of the summary there.
Yeah, we've got a lot of questions. Some of them keep coming up. I want to show you a few success stories while we try to go over these questions for you. You've heard Denny and I's story. My husband became fully disabled in 2010, and so his income was suddenly gone overnight, and so I had to step up with my FBA business. And fortunately, thanks to the scalability of FBA, I was able to replace that income in a very short time. It made a real difference for my family. There's a bunch of other success stories here if Denny will scroll through them.
Yeah, I will. Go ahead.
people that have gone through the pack and it's made a difference in their life. What I'm trying to say is that these success stories are real people. They're not people that have just some wild guy and they have some special ability that you don't have. These are everyday people that have found another income stream, and in some cases a full-time income using Amazon FBA. My fondest wish would be that the next time we do this webinar next week, one of the people on this webinar would have a success story up here, because it actually made a difference in their life that quickly. And yes, it can happen that quickly.
That would be outstanding. And the thing is, I have not exactly the same story, but I was in corporate America. I saw the layoff coming. The economy wasn't doing great. We weren't selling as much stuff as we needed to, and we actually started coming up with names for our business back in I think it was August. Finally came up with a name for our store, and then we started this in September, kind of having a feeling that things might change, and I got laid off back in October. Haven't looked back, and just growing the business as fast as I can. So that's where I came from. We're paying the bills with it. It is definitely possible to make $5,000 a month in this business, but it's all about how much effort you're putting into it. It is a simple business, but it is still a business, and it still involves work. So that means going out and finding products, and going out and getting boxes to ship things in, and putting them in boxes and shipping them, and taking labels off of things and putting them in boxes and putting stickers on things. And there's so there's a process here. But I can tell you that if you do work at this business, you're going to have success. And the other thing is too, I still make mistakes all the time. I still have things in inventory that I wish I had never bought. But my number one rule has been try to maintain the 3-to-1, like I said earlier. And even if I messed up 20% of the time, the other 80% of the time is going to make up for it. We don't mess up 20%, but even if we did, I knew we'd be able to. Well, hopefully not. I don't think I did. Oh yeah, maybe there is. There are those Wii swords that are still in there. Wait for Christmas on those. But yeah, it would be. We'd love other people to be successful too. That's why we're here. Here's another one. I'm gonna flip through these, so you can just see. These are real people that use the course, and just like us, and we're really happy with it. So, kind of can flip through. People's heads are spinning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Yeah. I like Suzanne's on the next one where she says that Amazon keeps selling when she goes on vacation, and that is one of the cool bits. Because my husband just had surgery this week, so we're over near the hospital where he had his surgery, and the money is coming in from Amazon. I'm getting my deposit on Saturday. They pay on Tuesday. I get it on Saturday, and even though I'm sitting here in the condo watching my husband helping him, so awesome.
There you go. Final slide.
We need the link.
Almost, yeah. The link is gonna. Actually, the link is on the next one, too. Silver and gold, just remember that. 97 for silver, 347 for the gold. And here's the question. So there's the 800 number. We'll put up the 800 number as well in the panel. It's 800-578-3449 for those of you that are listening in and not looking at the slides. Also, for those of you listening in that aren't looking at the slides, maybe listening to a replay, it's www.explosiveamazonbusiness.com/Friends of James Jones. That's going to be hard to spell, but it's /Friends of James Jones, www.explosiveamazonbusiness.com, 800-578-3449. You can also email questions to PAC, questions@gmail.com. That will be monitored as well. Or you can just go out and just purchase the course. So, like I said, consistent action is key. So don't just take a little action. It's that massive. Consistent action and avoiding as many mistakes as you can that are critical. So, you want to go through some questions, Kat? I think.
Yeah, I think I must be doing something wrong because I'm getting some of the questions over and over. So if Jim or Nate wants to log on and tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I'm answering them, but I'm getting the same ones. But for instance, a good question from Omar: can we sell books you purchase from the library? Absolutely, Omar. You can sell library books on Amazon.
Can you buy something from Ecuador and resell it? Certainly, if it's not in the prohibited categories, you may have to buy a UPC. And make sure that you take if you're not sure if it's not listed, you have a pretty good sense it's going to sell. I always recommend, by the way, starting off with books. It's the least risk. They still sell the most books on Amazon of anything else. And just, you can get books relatively inexpensive. So you can go buy 100 books for under $100. Just so, it's a great way to get started.
Or you can go over to your bookshelf, or you can go over to your bookshelf and start scanning and clean out your bookshelf.
My girlfriend wants me. I have too many boxes downstairs, but I have a hard time giving up books. And we still buy books that I keep, and I shouldn't do it, but I can't help it. It's a disease.
Okay, well, where to get the scanner, Lisa? You can buy scanners several places, and the scanner is really something that you want to put down at the end of your list because those kinds of things help you speed up, but they're not necessary to get started. So I strongly recommend the beginners buy those things from your profits, and then you don't feel like you've just sunk $600 into your business before you get your paycheck.
Hey, Kat.
Plus the iPhones and the
hey guys, can I speak about the scanner for a second?
Sure.
Because I've been doing Amazon FBA since November of last year, and I just got an iPhone about 3 weeks ago because my trusty HTC phone finally died on me, and I got an iPhone about 3 weeks ago, and I did finally download the app. It's called Price Check.
Yep.
I've never actually used it to buy anything. I have made many thousands of dollars not using a scanner.
Wow.
Fantastic.
And
that's
let me tell you some of the things that I have bought and sold on Amazon FBA for profit. One of the first things was some printer cartridges that I found.
Oh, yes.
I found at Goodwill in a little basket for 99 cents each. And I had my HTC phone, which had a little browser, and I was able to use that browser to go to Amazon and look it up there. I didn't have a scanner or anything. I just looked it up using a little browser there. And I saw they were selling for as much as $25 each. So there was a basket full of them. There were actually 36, some black and white and some color, and I bought every single one for 99 cents. I brought them back, and we ended up selling those. And I say we because I have an office with some staff, and I had one guy that I said, hey, just do this for me. And he listed them for me, and we sold them for between $10 and $25 or $24.99 each. I ended up making about $350, $400 on those. Another thing I sold that sold really well, and I really wish I'd bought more of these. $6 Million Man, the DVD sets. $6 Million Man came out on DVD back right around Christmas from Time Life, and at the time you could get a coupon that would save you like $60 plus free shipping.
Wow.
Plus, you could also sign up for the Time Life affiliate program. So then you just buy them through your affiliate link, and you get an additional 15% discount doing that. You got free shipping. You got a coupon code for like $60 off, and I bought 5 of those things.
That's awesome.
And then I sold all of them, and I went back and bought 5 more.
Good job.
Yeah. So I mean, just little things like that. I mean, you've got everyone here. What you should do is you should get like a laundry basket and just go around your house and like all the electronic stuff, like the DVDs. The kitchen gadget that your Aunt Egna gave you for Christmas 3 years ago that you've never taken out of the box. Take that, stick it in your basket, or get a bigger basket, get a box, whatever. Just gather all that stuff up, and all that stuff is your first shipment to Amazon. And it's really amazing the things that will sell.
I'm constantly amazed. I can't believe it sometimes. It's crazy.
And that's really the best way to get started, James. It really is. You don't need to go out and buy all this stuff to get started. You know, I strongly encourage folks to buy these things out of your profits, you know, because they will make you faster. They will make you more efficient. They will make you money. But don't go out and break the bank getting set up. You know, buy the stuff you need, like the courses, the information, the help that you need. But the tools, just get the basics and just do it. Just scan it, like Denny always says. Just scan it. And the stuff in your house is a fantastic place to start. Who doesn't have wedding presents they've never unwrapped, even 20 years later?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, somebody just asked about software. I was at a yard sale. This has been a couple of months ago. I was at a yard sale, and I saw a brand new software package on the table there, and it was a Microsoft Publisher. And guys, it was 2003. That was the date on the box, 2003. Wow. I took out my handy HTC phone, went to Amazon, looked that sucker up. Guess how much it was selling for on Amazon?
70 or 80?
$150, like 149, 159 bucks. So you know what I paid for that software?
$2.
$3?
Oh no, $5 whole.
You're
$5 whole. I listed that as soon as I got home. I listed that it sold in less than 24 hours. The next day I got up and it had already sold, and it sold for, I think I priced it at like 139 or something.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and that you know, guys, that was not even using Amazon FBA. That was just the straight. That was just the straight Amazon's, ship from my own house thing. Because
well, I tell you what I used to tell my students, James. I said I love waking up in the morning and seeing that 3 things sold on eBay overnight. That I got these emails saying your item sold. But now that I'm doing FBA, it's even better because I wake up in the morning and the emails come in and they say we've sold your item. Oh, and by the way, we've shipped it for you.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything.
No, Amazon has shipped the item you sold. And by the way, that's another question people had is when do they settle? So the way it works is every 2 weeks. And it's when it ships. So as soon as an item ships, Amazon's going to pay you for it. So we get paid. We get cycled every 2 weeks. We just had our settlement occur on Sunday night. It goes out Sunday night at midnight Pacific time for us. Depends on when you sign up, by the way. But so you may be off a different week than I am. But and then it went in electronically today. So we got our payment in today. So it goes in really quickly from Amazon. And by the way, people asking about private label stuff. You can, anything that's not in the prohibited list, if it's not in the gated category, you can sell. You might have to purchase a UPC, which is really easy. I think we got our last batch for about a buck a piece. We bought a bunch of them, but you can get them for $1 or $2 per UPC, and you can just create a listing up on Amazon for that. Put your photos up, use that UPC with the sweater from Ecuador or whatever it is, and you can do it. So, anything that's not prohibited, you can, even if there's not a UPC for it, you can go ahead and sell it on Amazon. So
absolutely.
What about magazines? Someone's asking, Cassandra has a really good question here. She has old magazines. Can you sell those on Amazon FBA?
Absolutely. In fact, you should look them up because some of them are too low priced to make it worthwhile sending in, Cassandra. You don't want to waste your time. But a lot of the older ones or the very collectible magazines, the single issues can be worth as much as $10 or $15.
Oh, more than that. A friend of mine, let me tell you this real quick story. A friend, okay. You ever heard of Free Cycle?
Oh, I love Free Cycle, yeah.
Okay, a friend of mine got an entire run of Sports Illustrated magazines off Free Cycle. Going back to like 1950s, the guy ended up he would not sell her the first issue because he wanted to keep that, but everything from the second issue on, and she's been listing those on eBay, and some of those are going for hundreds of dollars.
Yes. Now, James, you made a good point. She checked eBay and she checked Amazon. Generally speaking, I would say 75-80% of the time you're going to find higher prices on Amazon, especially if you use FBA. But always check because if you're selling an item, you want to get the best price. Check both marketplaces. And, of course, I have to throw in there, take into consideration the extra work it's going to be for eBay. But definitely check both of those. They're asking, we were talking about buying UPCs. There are several places on to buy UPCs. No, you cannot buy them on Amazon.
Yeah, just Google it.
Just Google it. There's one called Cheap UPC Codes. There's one Barcodes Are Us. In fact, this is another really interesting thing, James. When my mentor, Chris Green, who wrote Retail Arbitrage, first started buying UPC codes, they were $20 a piece now. Do you know how much they cost now, James?
$1, crazy.
$1 each.
I got my last batch for 80 cents a piece. So, and they're not hard. You can buy, the more you buy, of course, the lower your cost. And they just send you a spreadsheet. You assign the product and list it on Amazon. They're very easy. There are some categories you don't have to have UPCs. We'll go into all that in more detail. But yeah, definitely UPC code is not a deal killer.
Okay, here I've got a really tough question for you guys. And this is
okay.
Austin just asked this question. This is something I've had in my mind too. And that is, how do you ramp this up and do massive volume?
Austin, imagine this. If you did not have to do anything except source, that's all you had to do was source, how much could you ramp up your business?
Yep.
Because, Austin, you're outsourcing all of that. You can even teach someone to sit at your desk and input the products and do the boxes to UPS. That's a $7 an hour job. You can find someone to do that.
Well, this course, though, will your course teach people how to source?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we started some real basics where you can source, but, I mean, we've got a lot of other details. Denny's favorite saying is if it's dusty, it's good. My thing is watch out for the lazy scanners. So there's a lot of ideas. I know that somebody in the chat room was saying, you know, it doesn't look easy to me. I've been outsourcing, haven't found anything. Okay, we can fix that. That's workable, okay? Because we're not going to let you out there and say, oh, go find stuff if you're on your own. The PAC course is all about teaching you all the basics you need. How do you go to a thrift store? Where do you start? How do you negotiate with people? How do you get started on wholesale? How do I approach it? All that stuff is in there. So, yeah.
Look high, look low, look everywhere. You know, as far as ramping, here's the other thing that I say too is, especially if you have a full-time job right now, take every single bit of profit that you get out of Amazon every 2 weeks and plow it right back in. And I think that if you can imagine, if you're buying for, you know, keeping $1 for yourself typically, and you know you're replenishing your inventory, it's going to multiply in 6 months. Like if you started with, say, just what you found around your house, and say maybe that was $500 worth of, you know, your first payout or something, you took that and invested it back into more inventory, and then you grew that to 1,000, invested back into more inventory, grew it to 2,000, just keep investing it back in. That's the easiest way to grow this fast. You know, I mean, in 6 months, I mean, think of how much inventory you'd be plowing back in, and then eventually you're going to be at the point where, you know, it's just massive. And like I said, you do have to outsource. You know, eventually you want to just be sourcing stuff. And you can even, you know, we have people, like I said, the Missoni stuff, we had people looking for us, and we would just write them a check when they brought us inventory because we knew that inventory was going to be 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 every single time. And, you know, you can have people sourcing for you. You can have people boxing for you. Jim's number one rule is don't touch box tape, which I haven't been able to get out of touching box tape yet, but it's, you know, if you can find someone, a high school student even, you know, or your kids are excellent. You know, Jim has 5 kids. There's a reason he has 5 kids. So, no, I'm kidding.
Workforce.
Exactly. You know, so I mean, that's the way to explode this business for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And a lot more questions. We could be here all night answering questions, James. You're just going to have to tell me when it's time to go. Because is there a scanner for the Android for books? The scanners aren't really iPhone or Android compatible. The scanner I use is a little bitty thing called a scan fob. It attaches to my iPhone via Bluetooth. So you can look for those kinds of things, and that's in the pack too. What people recommend, it's actually a discount code for buying the scan fob. So
and I don't even use the scan fob. So we still just the cameras on the latest Android and iPhones are so fantastic and fast. I don't even use a scan fob. It's a little bit faster for a scan fob, but those cameras focus and scan really quickly. So you know we don't
Obviously, you've never used a scan fob.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have the network latency to go out and pull the stuff back.
I agree.
So, you know, go ahead.
I agree. Lowell Ferguson wants to know, what if items are not boxed? That depends, and a lot of answers are, it depends, Lowell. You need to package your items going into FBA to protect them in the warehouse. A lot of items will need to be bagged, put them in a poly bag. They don't have to be in a box unless they're delicate and need to be protected, and then they have to be boxed. If they're supposed to be in a box and they're not, you cannot sell them as new. And I know that was another big question in the comments and the questions in the webinar. Can you sell used items on Amazon FBA? Absolutely yes, in certain categories. For instance, you cannot sell used toys, but you can sell collectible toys.
Right. Weird distinctions, right?
Yeah, right. And you can't sell used baby items at all. So,
right.
And no used clothing. So.
Right, and clothing is a gated category. Someone was mentioning that before, so
yes.
That's when you do have to be approved for clothing. But you don't have to be approved for baby items. It's a little bit weird. So you can sell baby socks and baby shoes and even baby bibs and stuff, but you can't sell adult clothing unless you're approved for that category. And someone was asking about books, too. I do a ton of books. So if you have a book that's been on your shelf that you haven't read, that you haven't cracked the spine, and it's brand new and it's not weathered and it smells new, then I typically list those as new. Sometimes like new. It depends on the condition. There's condition guidelines out there on Amazon. I always have them on my screen when I'm going through and doing books. One of the number one tricks, by the way, is to always put everything in poly bags. We have thousands of poly bags in our inventory that we use for different sizes for things. And when you wrap it in poly bags, it protects it in the Amazon warehouse, and it keeps that fresh smell, right? I mean, that's kind of like the guideline. So if it's new, we always poly bag it, and sometimes bubble wrap it too, and sometimes do both. So.
Yeah, and that goes into the webinar that we're going to do about presenting your items and protecting yourself against negative feedback. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that.
Yeah, there's a lot of details, and with the Quick Start seminar, by the way, is going to go through, first of all, what's in the course to give you a good quick start on how to apply the course, and then go through in more detail about how to list items, how to find items, kind of give you like the dummies guide or the cheat sheet to the Proven Amazon course, and then stuff you have more questions about, you can dive in first of all to the course, or just ask us directly as well. And then those extensive additional seminars are going to be detailed things like first of all, how to deal with it. We do occasionally get feedback that we don't like. It doesn't happen a lot. It's a lot different than eBay in that respect. But how to deal with it? Like I have actual letters that work, that I know that work because I got feedback removed so many times from sellers. So that kind of stuff's going to be in there. That stuff that's not out there anywhere on the internet. It's just not available. So that gold membership includes those additional courses that Kat and I are working on. And it also includes that Quick Start webinar, and then includes direct email access to coaching as well, and then that lifetime membership access to the My Silent Team. So that's awesome, the biggest difference. I mean, that's an amazing value. Like I said, those courses that we're doing, I know what's in them. We're still working on them. We're still putting all the pieces together, but I know the content is going to blow you away. So that's why I feel comfortable recommending the gold package.
Absolutely. We'll stay here all night answering questions. We'll have to wait for James to tell us to hush now.
Oh, no, you guys are doing great. Doing great. So, I mean, there's just a lot of questions coming in, a lot of really, really good questions.
Absolutely. Is there a price for the program extras if you've already purchased the original pack program from Jim? Actually, Vicki, send us an email about that, and we'll email Jim C., and ask him what's up about that, how to work that. The quick course webinar is for the gold and silver, correct, Denny?
Correct. That is correct.
Right. Okay. Rule of thumb for buying: if it's on Amazon for $21, only buy if it's 1/3 of that price, $7. Yes, Austin, I definitely recommend that. It's a way of keeping new people from getting hurt. If people get excited and they think if they buy it for $5 and sell it for $10, they think they've made $5, and you haven't, because you haven't taken into consideration all of the fees that Amazon will take. Amazon FBA fees, in my experience, after selling for so many years on eBay, are very similar to the fees that eBay and PayPal together will take out of your eBay sales. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But you've got to account for those fees, or you're going to do all this work and then wonder where your paycheck is.
Yeah, remember it's $1 for you, $1 for Amazon, and $1 for inventory. So that's a general rule. The other thing too, it fudges a little bit as you get into higher priced items. That's when I was talking earlier about how our average selling price per order is about $27, right? So that helps us, First of all, one thing I can tell you, so we rely on rank, and we'll go into this in a lot more detail, by the way, but we rely on ranking, which is how, kind of how quickly that item's turning over on Amazon based on a category, and then the actual current price, and then how much we have to pay for it. So, a lot of times we'll take a chance on an item that has a kind of a sketchy rank. For books, by the way, it's about $1 million or under. We've done ones that are $2 million, where we can buy it for $1 and sell it for $50. Like, I'll take those kind of chances, right? But I don't go the other way. I won't, especially, it could be a fantastic rank, which, we see like toy rankings, for example, where it might be a couple thousand, but we buy it for 5 and sell it for 10. I'm not going to play that game. First of all, there's usually too many sellers when you have a rank that low, and you're just not making up. You got to think about your time and shipping it in and all that stuff. If it's buy it for 30 and sell it for 90, that's a different story, because once you account for those fees, there's a lot of fixed costs. There's a 15% commission with Amazon, but there's a fixed pick, pack, and ship fee that's part of Amazon. So you can budget as those numbers get higher, which is why having a higher average selling price increases what you're going to be, what the money you're going to make, basically. So as we've moved forward in this business, we've gone higher. We've head for the higher end. So.
Right. Even though it is a percentage, as Denny said, there's a fixed cost for each sale also. So the percentage actually goes down lower the higher your cost goes. I actually have a spreadsheet that I hired a friend to create for me that I kept very close track of everything I bought and sold for the first 3 months. So I could see exactly where I was making money and how much I was making. And using that spreadsheet, I highly recommend it, and I'd be happy to share that with anybody that wants to email me. It will help you. It will also teach you. I started out with my minimum price being $7.50 and quickly learned that wasn't worth it. All the hassle of sending things in to make $1.50, no way. I raised my lower price to 10. I've raised it to 15. I now refuse to send anything in that won't sell for $30 or more unless it's something that's going to sell very, very fast or repeated items, like a commodity item.
Or easy. Like we get books that a lot of times we'll just, know that we'll have to sit in there for a while, but the books are pretty easy, so we'll send in a bunch of those. And I have a garage full, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's exceptions to the rules. The barcode purpose and what is it needed for? Ralph, to list an item on Amazon, you need to have an ISBN if it's a book or a UPC code if it's not a book. And there are exceptions. There are ways to list books that don't have ISBN codes. But for other products and other categories, if you don't have a UPC code from the manufacturer, you're going to have to purchase a UPC code, which is the barcode, so that you can list that product on Amazon. Typically, what I use them for is I have a line of shoes that I sell that the manufacturer does not provide UPC codes. I purchased UPC codes for those. I create bundles. That's another thing we'll get into on the Gold Series webinars, bundling to making more profit by selling more items together. So I'll put a French vanilla hand cream and a French vanilla soap together and sell that as a bundle. And I'll need my own UPC code to be able to sell that and list that product on Amazon. So to do that, I just go to one of the places on the internet that sells UPC codes, and I purchase 100, 50, 25, 500 last time. And I pay them the money, and they send me the files, and I get a spreadsheet with the actual barcode numbers, and I also get JPEG and GIF files so that if I wanted to, I had a retail store, I could actually print out the UPC codes so that a scanner could read them. And then I simply take that UPC code, plug it into my own spreadsheet, says, okay, this UPC code goes with this product, and then I list that product on Amazon. So it's very simple.
And those shoes that's a category you had approved, correct?
Yes, I actually got grandfathered into clothing and shoes, so I'm one of the lucky ones. Clothing is a closed category, and it is also, right now, it is one of the hardest categories to get approved on Amazon. If clothing is your major category, you may want to look at some other products to get started on Amazon. Clothing is closed, and currently they're not accepting applications. I do know of exceptions. There are always exceptions. The point with Amazon, if you're trying to get into a closed category, is what value you can bring to their marketplace. So if you have some unusual brand of clothing they don't already have, that gives you a much better chance of getting approved than if you're just going to sell more DNKY clothes that 15 other people are already selling. Does that make sense?
Yep. It's good to be a grandmother, or you said grandfather in that case, right?
Grandfather, yes. Do I need a business license to sell on FBA? And if I do, where do I get it? You need a business license to be in business. You don't need a business license to sign up on Amazon. They will not ask for one. I would strongly recommend if you're going to start selling that you get a business license. And where do you get it, Joe? I would go down to your sales tax division. It's usually in the same building or the same place where you go to get your driver's license and say, hey, I'm starting a business. How do I get my business license or my tax certificate? That will save you some money when you're buying retail because you don't have to pay tax.
Yep. So. And someone's asking about the biggest ticket items to look for. We've gone up to $300 or $400 on items, right? We don't do typically too much larger than that, but it just depends. I think that especially with an item that can move and you can find it for a good price. I mean, get as many as you can. we sold some rock speakers recently. We found it at an estate sale, and we bought them for $45 and sold them for $269. There's still one in there, but that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a big item relative. It's heavy, but we knew we could make a profit on it. And by the way, we'll talk about some of the scanners that we recommend as part of the course. The scan items that both Kat and I use on our phones, the applications, it already tells us based on the weight, what the actual Amazon fees will be at the price at different selling points. It also tells us the rank and the category, and also whether Amazon's selling it or not. It also shows new, used, and FBA sellers. It breaks it out. So that scanner is, I mean, for me, it's critical. You can still find stuff by searching on the Amazon, using the Amazon app. I mean, that's amazing, James. You were able to get some great stuff. But if you want to do a lot of volume, and then you really want to grow this business, I recommend getting, a third-party app, because it has everything right in front of you. That's how we do our business, and how we know that, hey, this item has this rank. We know it's going to cost $20 for when it sells at 100. It'll be $20 for the fees, and so we net, minus our inventory cost, we net 80, and take out our inventory cost, and that's how we kind of figure what is 3 to 1. We do a lot of that stuff in our head when we're scanning. So we'll go into a lot more detail on that in the course. And by the way, the course is available online, but you can also download it. So I downloaded everything. I tend to, when I purchase courses, I tend to download everything, because I want it on my computer. I want to have stuff locally. I don't want to have to watch it online. So all the course information, all the videos, and all the materials can be downloaded. And there's quite a lot in the course. I mean, there's a ton of videos. There's a lot of course materials, PDF files, books. I mean, there's an amazing amount of stuff. When you get the course, you'll see. And by the way, on a side note, didn't mention this before, but my silent team also has some amazing courses out there as well. So I know there's a lot of internet marketers on the call. So my favorite thing from my silent team that I found, because I was looking through all the stuff. There's a ton of stuff. Jim has this great list building course that's part of my silent team. It's just part of your membership. So I mean, there's a bunch of that kind of stuff out there. So it's not just an online community. There's a bunch of really cool courses out there. I mean, I think he sells that course for $200. So that's my silent team lifetime membership, and as part of gold and 6 months as part of silver, is amazing. Just so you guys know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Once you get over the pack and you get the My Silent Team membership, go exploring, because you're going to find a lot of stuff. Questions was, how long will this offer be open? And again, was asking, will it be open indefinitely? No, it won't be open indefinitely, but I don't know the end date. I'm not sure how long they're going to leave the offer open. So I would just move as quickly as you can. A great question from Lee Burns. Does the weight of what you're selling have a factor? Absolutely, yes.
Yep.
When you're sending items into FBA, you don't have to worry about what the customer pays shipping, because the customer is going to pay it. You're not going to come out of your pocket for any shipping when FBA is doing the shipping. But when an item is what they call oversized, there are extra fees involved. Oversized for Amazon is anything that weighs over, is it 40 pounds or 20 pounds, Denny?
I just know the dimensions are 18 inches on any of the sides, and then I don't know the weight ones. But I know it's $6 for the oversized fee, and then they charge you I mean, the weight-based fee is calculated in it. But that's what I love about the scanner. It'll tell you that fee, and it knows already whether it's what it's going to be.
Right, it'll tell you, it'll, when you scan it with the app that we use, the FBA Power app, it will tell you whether the item is oversized or not. But the weight doesn't matter so much as the size, but there is an oversized fee, and that will be $6. And so that definitely cuts into your profit, so yes, it does matter.
But if you're selling a sewing machine, and it's, you can buy it for $30 and sell it for $100, I mean, which is giving you a 3-to-1 ratio, you're gold. I mean, accounting for shipping a little bit there. I mean, those rock speakers were heavy. We sent in a full big giant pirate ship over Christmas. We've sent in some pretty big stuff, and just as long as we know the ratios are going to work, we'll do it every time. So.
It always comes back to margin. It always comes back to margin. Second question is, what does Amazon do if your item is returned? Good question, Sharon, because Amazon has an extremely liberal return policy. You can expect returns usually in the 2 to 3% range, and you need to build that in. That's another reason that your margin is so important. If the item is returned to Amazon for any reason, they will take that money back out of your account. And the item, if it is still in what they call sellable condition, will go back into your inventory, and they will resell it. If it is not in sellable condition, if the buyer reports it as defective or damaged, or they receive it back in the warehouse and it's damaged, it will sit in your inventory as unfulfillable. You'll have to have it shipped back to your house and decide how to dispose of it. Now, the really cool thing is it only costs you 50 cents to have it shipped back. Not 50 cents plus shipping, just 50 cents per item. And then you can look at it, and in my experience, 90% of the items that I get shipped back to me are in perfect condition. The customer simply told Amazon that they were defective in order to get the free shipping back to Amazon. And again, that goes back to Amazon's customer service. That's one of the prices you pay for these wonderful customers that will pay higher prices and buy more things, because they know that Amazon is behind them if there's a problem.
And so, by the way, we like one of the things I loved about Jim's book, and especially my silent sales machine book, is he said, and also the free marketing book as well. He says that unless your return policy makes you feel it feels like a little bit painful, it's not good enough. So we have gone out of our way for customers to even give them stuff for free. We've had a couple things where we're pretty sure we shipped them the right item, but they complained. We just said keep it. We refunded. I mean, because for us, it's most important that we have good, consistent feedback and that the customers are happy and that they don't complain to Amazon. So, we do everything we can, just first of all because it's the right thing to do, but also because it's going to maintain our business and our perception. And with Amazon and with customers, it's important to just really have a great return policy. A side note on returns, by the way, and it is about 2.5 to 3. It's been pretty consistent for us throughout time. A little bit higher at Christmas. One thing that I should mention is if it is carrier damaged, which happens more frequently than you might imagine, Amazon will refund the amount to you and they just keep the item. So we see about half our items end up carrier damaged in some way. Also, if Amazon, and I watch this pretty carefully now, if Amazon's technical definition of return policy is if it's past 30 days, no return. So if it goes past 30 days and Amazon returns it, I make sure they give me my money back because they're not allowed. That return was technically ineligible for a return. So I'm careful with monitoring my returns and making sure I get the money back. About half the time, Amazon will actually refund the money back to me, and sometimes I don't even know why. Like there's a report you can get that shows the reason for the return, and about half of them are carrier damage or damage upon arrival, those kind of things, and those get refunded to you within 15, 30 days, something like that from Amazon.
Okay, and we had a couple questions from folks talking about artist pieces, dried flower arrangements, stained glass, that kind of thing. Yes, you can sell those products on Amazon. Let me give you a couple of warnings. Number one, you'll have to buy your own barcode to do that. Number two, Amazon really hasn't reached critical mass yet on the collectibles, artsy, craftsy type of items. So you may not see the high sales on Amazon for your one-of-a-kind crafted items that you would see on another site, say maybe Etsy, that is all about handcrafted items and such. But you can send them in. I would make absolutely positive if I was sending in glass or dried flowers, something like that, that I would very careful double wrapping those. I would have those in a box, and I would have them bubble wrapped and all kinds of things. But yes, you can sell those. Austin has a question for you, I think, Denny. Are you talking about an app phone or buying a scanner?
Yeah, it's an app on the phone, so it's built into the smartphone. I don't even use a scan fob, like I said. We just use the camera that's part of the phone, and that's how we scan. And you also, Austin, you were asking about, you saw a beautiful, never-used wooden chest set at Goodwill. How do I know how much to pay and how much it will sell for? So we definitely go into that a lot more in the course, but I mean, it's ultimately about looking it up. I mean, if you don't even have a scanner yet, if you can find a barcode, you may not know this, but you can actually take a barcode and either type it into Google or type it into Amazon. If that item is actually listed in the Amazon active catalog, it'll pull up the item. So if you can, and even if you have a good description, you can also, and that's what I did with the book. That book that I bought for a couple bucks and sold for $130, there was no ISBN on the book. There was no barcode. All I had was a title and an author. So I actually went to Amazon.com on my smartphone and typed that in, and I found it. I had looked at a few listings before I found it, but I found the book, the pictures matched. I knew it was that item. So, that's what you do, and that's how you would know. And then if you have the smartphone and the Amazon Price Check, you can do it, or the third-party app, FBA Power, which you already mentioned, which is part of the Proven Amazon course as well. it'll tell you. I mean, if it's listed in the Amazon active catalog, it'll tell you, by the way. So.
Right. And Joe Mead says he missed the part where I said a smart cell phone is needed for the course. Why do you need one? Okay, you don't absolutely have to have one, but you've got to find some way of being able to look up these items. Now, James came on earlier and said that he didn't use any kind of app or scanner. He simply went to the Amazon website on the browser in his phone. So, you know, you can do that. You can even, I know some people that will go to their thrift store and find 5 or 6 items, write them down, and then even go out in the parking lot to their laptop and look them up, or even go so far as go home.
Or phone them in, phone a friend, right? I mean,
phone a friend. I was thinking about that, phone a friend. But I mean, there's lots of ways you can do it to get started. The cell phone, the smartphones make it so much easier.
I've done both those things, Kat. I have actually gone out to a thrift shop or whatever and written the stuff down, gone home, looked them up, and I've also called a friend. I mean, basically what I was doing is I was just trying to see if the item itself, I could buy it for a price and then list it and resell it and make a profit.
Right, and that's arbitrage, guys. That's
it is. It really is arbitrage.
Yep, that's what that fancy word is. See, now you've probably been doing this your whole life and didn't even realize it. You are an arbitrage person. Guess what? I saw a beautiful, never-used wooden chess set at Goodwill. How do I know how much to pay and how much it will sell for? Austin, the only way you know that is to go look it up on Amazon. Try to find one as close to identical as you can in as close to identical condition and see what they're selling for. Now, also, remember that when you do research on eBay, you can go into completed listings and find out what they are, quote, selling for. When you look on Amazon, what you're seeing is what they are listed for. So the only way to really tell how they're selling is their sales rank, okay? Because there's no app available. Amazon is not releasing that data where you can actually see sold prices on how many of these sold yesterday. There's no way to find that information, so be careful about that.
Yep. So there was someone was asking about when it comes back to your house, like when you just turn around and relist it. It kind of, some of it depends on if it really was defective. By the way, so you know if it was opened and damaged, you can't really relist it as new. But if it was not opened and it's still in new condition, we do tend to turn around and list it as new. You don't need a new barcode for it, by the way. So the way it works when you list items on Amazon. So I'll give you a quick version here. So there's listings on Amazon, or those general things that show the product and typically have a price and pictures and descriptions associated with them. When you actually send something into Amazon, you're creating an offer against the listing. When you do that, actually it creates what's called, and I'm not going to go too deep in this, but it creates what's called an FN SKU off of your M SKU. So that sounds really confusing, but basically you create your own SKU based for that item. Then that item gets tied to the Amazon listing, and that generates what's called an FN SKU, which is the barcode label that you put on that item when you send it into Amazon, FBA, right? So typically, if you get that item back and it was in your inventory already, you can just print out a new label and just stick it on it and send it back in. So pretty easy to relist it, especially if it's still in new condition. If someone trashed it, we do get some weird stuff back sometimes, so I would never do that if it was me returning something to Amazon, but we did. We had someone send back a defective dish, like a little dish brush, right? Like, we saw a lot of pink ones for some reason, but they broke it, and they returned it back to us as defective with the handle snapped and the dirty dishwater still on the item. So that we weren't going to resell.
Definitely not.
I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I couldn't believe it. But I mean, whatever, right? I mean, it's part of the business. It's part of the cost of the business. But, it's just funny that some of the things people will send back. We got some weird stuff back from Christmas where they'd obviously been playing with it for like a month and a half, and they send it back. So you will occasionally get that happening. But, I mean, most people are going to be honest and upfront and straightforward. You'll get an occasional weird thing like that. But, it's part of the business. So, and it's funny, too. I still can't believe the snapped handle. This was defective. I snapped it.
Anthony says, I own several hundreds of 3D wooden puzzles for kids. Can I just send them in one box and ask $5 for each one? Absolutely not. Each one has to be listed individually. You'd have to put it in some kind of a box or a bag, and you'd have to label that, okay?
Yeah, and those 3D puzzles, by the way, we sold a Titanic puzzle that we found at a yard sale. The only thing we found at that yard sale, so people were talking about like, I can't find stuff, and we, we've had those days, right? I mean, we've been out there. It was hot. It's hot, and we had some crappy art. I mean, I said, don't go past that word, but it was just a bad day for us. We couldn't find anything, no one anything good. But we kept going, and we'll tend to scan stuff everywhere, including going to Office Depot. We'll scan stuff. We try to pay for stuff. What we're going to buy, we try to pay for with stuff we find. But anyway, we're out of the yard sale. Just one more thing. We got to find something. And I picked up a Titanic 3D puzzle, and beep, little scan, and it was $1, and we sold it for $97. So that made the slog worth it. We were persistent. Persistence beats resistance. Consistent action beats it too, and we didn't give up. So if we had given up, if we'd have stopped, 30 minutes before we got to that sale, we would have never found the puzzle. And by the way, after we found that puzzle, we found more stuff at other sales. So we didn't quit. We kept going. So that's the number one thing I would say, is just keep going. And by the way, for those of you asking how do you print out the labels, you can do them on laser printers. You have to print out a whole big sheet. But if you were planning to do this business in any kind of volume, I think one of the key things is to get a label writer. We have a couple of them. They just print out individual labels. We have Dymo 450s and 450 pluses, no turbo, and you can it's pretty inexpensive on Amazon. That and a scale are the two things. Like, don't use your bathroom scale. I think we picked up a scale on Amazon for like $20 or something like that, and like I said, the Dymos are not 100% necessary. But if you think this, if you're going to do this business, you're going to need the Dymo. I think it's it's between 65 and 75. I just picked up another one a couple days ago because we're someone going to help us with shipping, so I need a third one. But the scale plus the Dymo are definitely going to help you a lot. So.
Absolutely. And Nadine asks, is the Amazon Price Check app free? Yes, Nadine, it is a free app. Are you going to replay the webinar, Lucille? Yes, it has been recorded. I'm going to be sending the replay to Nathan tonight, and I hope he'll be getting it up soon. And you'll be notified of the replay link as soon as we can get it done.
Yeah, just remember, pack questions, PAC questions at gmail.com. Operators are also standing by. I just wanted to say that. Operators are standing by at 800. By the way, operators are standing by at 800-578-3449. And remember, if you're listening in, it's www.explosiveamazonbusiness.com/friends, FRINDS, of OF, James, JAMES, Jones, JONES. So that's, if you're listening in, that's the where you go and purchase the Proven Amazon course, silver and gold, and then the 800 numbers for questions, as well as the email also. So, absolutely. And just so one other thing to mention, we will also, for those of you that really feel like, you want to take this to the next level, and you're serious about getting this business started off quickly. First of all, just we mentioned this before. The Pack Plus Gold does have direct access to us, Kat and I, and also other coaches through email and also through the My Silent Team site, and that's just, that's really going to help you. But for those of you that would like to, have one-on-one coaching, that is available. That's one of the reasons that Nathan was involved in this whole process with us. He has a team that are experienced sellers, and I know that Kat and I will also be assisting with that as well. And that's if you really want that one-on-one interaction, that will be available. Happy to provide that. The 800 number's a great number. That 800-578-3449 number is a great place to go and get any of your questions answered about that. They can give you details on that. If that's something that you feel is for you, it's definitely one of those things where we're looking for people that are serious about this. It's not something that's for everyone at all. It's definitely for people that really want to skyrocket their business to that next level. So that is available. Just remember that. So, and now back to Kat.
I just want to say that too. Operators are standing by. Mara says when she tries to log into the website, it does not work. So I'm not sure which website that is, but it should be explosiveamazonbusiness.com.
ExplosiveAmazonBusiness.com/Friends of James Jones is also in the chat box, and I know Nathan just confirmed that link, and that is in the chat box. So
yeah, and definitely put somebody. I think Alex actually gave us a short link for it. So thank you.
Oh, nice.
All right. Okay. And to those of you that have all these questions, you are exactly the people that I think the one-on-one training was for. So there's a lot of questions in here about, different specific products. Great. Anthony, that's definitely a question. It would help. Amazon sends a defective customer back to you for 50 cents. Do you simply turn around and relist it again after inspection?
Yeah, we already answered that one. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would expect this link to be up for at least a couple days. Like Kat and I said, we're not really sure how long exactly, but if you do want to listen to the replay, feel free to go for it. But I do want to remind you too, there is a 30-day money back guarantee. No questions asked type of thing. So that's true of all of Jim's courses. If you find for some reason that it's not for you, I would say just go for it. If you feel like this is something you're interested in, you're going to learn so much. You're going to be blown away. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do this business without it. I mean, it's not as fast as I have. There's no way. And but if for some reason you get to the end and say, hey, it's not for me, that's fine. It's all about. But once again, remember, it's about taking action too. So make sure that you do take that consistent action. That's how you're able. That's how we've been able to do what we've done. So, but also remember one more time, operators are standing by. 800-578-3449. If you have those questions, like those burning questions right now that we can't get to everyone. I think we've hopefully done a pretty good job of getting everyone, but they're there to answer questions for you.
Yeah, if we didn't get your question, or if you're having trouble signing into the website, just go ahead and give them a call, 800-578-3449, and they can help you. If you can't get to the website, it's not a problem.
Hey, Kat and Denny, you guys have done a great job of pretty much answering every question that everyone has ever asked about FBA. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. So are we ready to wrap it up now? We've gone actually about double over what we had, what you guys had said that you would do. So I really appreciate that.
Well, thanks. We like to stay
thank you so much.
Thank you very much, James. We like to stay until the questions are answered. Appreciate your time.
Yep, I think you pretty much answered all of them. So I really appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yep,
We'll
great job. Great job,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.